Hello, everybody, and welcome back to ZakIsCinema. Yes, welcome home, and let's talk about some movies, okay? Because if you just find yourself just late at night, waking up in like a cold sweat, panicking, wondering, oh my God, there's a new Fantastic Four movie. Who's gonna talk to me about all the other half-assed attempts at a Fantastic Four movie? I want to discuss those. Well, let this be a message from God, okay? Because I'm here to talk about some Fantastic Four with everybody. So today we're going to be doing another movie review. So let's just jump into it here. Today we're going to be reviewing and discussing Fantastic Four from 2005. So for director, we got Tim Story. Writer, we got Mark Frost and Michael France. Starring in Fantastic Four, we got Lone Gruffud. Oh God, I'm so bad at reading names. Gruffud, I'm going to go with. We got Jessica Alba, Chris Evans, and Michael Chiklis. So as we hop into the review for the 2005 Fantastic Four here, obviously we got the new Fantastic Four coming out in just a little bit here, and I'm definitely really looking forward to that one. I can't remember the last time I was pretty excited for a Marvel movie, and just with all the new promotion for this one, every time I see something, I'm like, this looks so different and unique compared to anything Marvel has put out in the last 6 years, I would say. So I think it just has a unique sense of style to it that I'm definitely looking forward to. But then when this new one was coming out, I'm like, oh shit, I've never seen any of the other Fantastic Four movies. When these original two that we're going to be talking about, and then the other one I think from like, was it 2015 or something, when these original ones came out, I was around like 5 or 6 years old, so I was a little too young to check them out in theaters, and then I just kind of missed out on them because nobody ever said anything good about these movies. And I remember like my group of friends in like elementary and middle school, just it seemed like everybody was just not as interested in those like Fox Marvel movies, because in 2008 we got Iron Man, and I was like 9 years old, about to turn 10, so like perfect age for really growing up with the MCU. I think the MCU really consumed a lot of kids around my age because it came out right when I could start to see those types of movies, and this one came out just a little too soon, and then I just kind of missed out on a lot of the Fox Marvel universe here. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to kind of take a look at this one, its sequel, and then the other Fantastic Four from about 10 years ago here, leading up to the new one. I'm not going to be reviewing or discussing that one from like the 80s or 90s. I don't feel like watching that one. So I'm just going to be doing some of these newer ones here. But honestly, I was really excited to check these out because obviously I've heard nothing but absolutely awful things about them. So I feel like I went in with low expectations and just curious to see a Fox superhero movie from 2005 that I had never watched. So let's jump into the review section, starting with the positives or just the things that I really enjoyed about this movie. So first, I will say when I started watching this movie, I feel like it bleeds that early 2000s vibe and style of a movie that just always reminds ZakIsCinema here as feeling like a child sitting on the living room carpet in front of the TV, maybe slightly too close so you're like looking up a little bit without any pain or discomfort, and all you're feeling is enjoyment. That was the vibe I was getting watching this movie and just being kind of thrown into what superhero movies used to be like. And I really did enjoy just taking a look back at this movie here from a simpler time in ZakIsCinema's life here. I think Chris Evans or, Johnny Storm in this movie. He's such a douchebag, but in such a cool way, and such a like that douchebag that you kind of like because he's just like a funny asshole. And I love the introduction we get to Johnny Storm. I think if I'm remembering correctly, he's like making out with some random girl we never see again, and he's on a motorcycle and she's like driving some sports car, and they're making out while like going down the highway together at what looked like 80-90 miles per hour. I'm like, holy shit, that is one of the coolest character introductions I've ever seen, and you know exactly what you're going to get with a character that would do something like that. I think he has a funny line that stood out to me too. Like, I forget what he was responding to, but he was like, wow, Dr. Phil, that's deep. Let's really think about that. Like, just the way Chris Evans delivered his lines here, I feel like that's one I could throw out there to somebody. And I really enjoyed Chris Evans in this movie. I think he was really fucking funny here. Like, not every joke lands in the movie or even with Chris Evans, but I do really enjoy the scene when he finds out he's the Human Torch, and I think he's going like snowboarding with some chick, and he falls off the cliff snowboarding and lands into a snow cliff while he's on fire, and then he's like naked in the snow pile, but he melted some of the snow, so it's almost like he's like chilling in a jacuzzi or something, and then all he says is to the girl, like, care to join me? Like, it's just, I like that introduction too, because it's so cheesy, it's so stupid, but it adds a lot to his character because he's just that asshole douchebag. But a lot of that stuff, I found a sense of charm to it, and it really did land with me. And in this movie, I do really like how all of our Fantastic Four characters here, when they start finding out their superpowers, they all accidentally kind of discover theirs. So it's really cool because each character gets a little moment like that, just like with Johnny Storm, like we were talking about with the snowboarding incident. Like, each character kind of gets their tiny little revelation. So it's almost like you're having 4 different little Spider-Man moments of when Spider-Man first got it, figured out his powers, and it's just that cool excitement. You get like 4 different little versions of that. So I like that they didn't all figure out together, and they all kind of figured it out separately too. And even though this movie, it's definitely hard to take very serious, and I think it's with that early 2000s just cheesy effect, and this is when superhero movies weren't that big yet, so they didn't have the proper budget too. Even though it's hard to take serious, I thought there was a couple scenes that I'm like, oh wow, that's like, emotionally impactful here. Like, the one that stood out to me was the scene with the Thing when he, first gets all deformed and everything, and then wants to go talk to his wife, but is like ashamed and hiding in the shadows, and he comes out, and his wife is so disgusted with him, she literally just backs into and runs back into traffic to get away from him, and almost gets hit by a couple different cars. So I just thought a scene like that, like, it's a little goofy, but it resonates with me a little bit, and it makes you feel for our poor character of the Thing here, and I did really like that. And I think this movie, when it's not like overly cheesy, like I said, there's definitely humor that just does not work here, but I think they do have some really funny scenes and a good sense of humor overall, like that. Like, one scene that kind of stood out to me there was when the Thing was just kind of like chilling on the bridge. I think he was like all depressed and sad after his wife, and then a dude comes by and he looks like he's contemplating like suicide or something, but gets like freaked out by looking at the Thing, and the Thing is so disgusting to him, he changes his mind of jumping to his death here. So I thought that was a funny scene, good sense of humor, but then also adds a little bit to the Thing here. Like, he's so just ugly and hideous that people will literally walk away from about to kill themselves to get away from him. So it adds a little bit more to him there too. I think it continues on after that, but that bridge scene when they all kind of come together and use their powers for the first time, like, a lot of it doesn't hold up, but I think it was a really cool action set piece. I think action set pieces on bridges are always intense because every character is at risk of falling, and there's so many other civilians that they got to look out for that it kind of like adds some weight to that situation. So I did really like that scene here too. And to me here, I really enjoyed the cool charm of watching an early superhero movie when they were first trying to figure this stuff out. Like, it somehow feels a little bit unique to me in some ways, just because modern superhero movies, whether you like them or not, are very, very different compared to looking back at this one. So it's interesting seeing a movie from a time like this, and just, even though it's kind of cliche, it feels a little bit unique, just given how overly saturated superhero movies have been. So when you get another one that feels so different, it almost comes off as kind of unique, if that makes sense. And lastly here, I enjoy all the Fantastic Four characters. They're not like huge standouts, nothing that's going to be really memorable, or I'm like sad there's new variations in the new one, like nothing like that. But I think they have good development amongst all the F4 characters here. I like them as a team. I just kind of wish we got more scenes of them like bonding and going back and forth with each other. But I enjoy our main cast of characters here. They're easy to watch, and they're fun to sit through a movie with here. Let's jump into my mix section for the movie here. And honestly, when all the characters are in the satellite space station kind of thing and get hit by that cosmic thing and then get their powers in the beginning, like it's a cool idea. And like, how else would you explain that they get their powers? Just, it seems kind of silly almost that they're just getting like beamed by this cosmic gas. Like, I don't even know what the hell it is, and it just like all affects them so very differently. Like, it's kind of a lazy way to get them to all have their powers, but it makes sense to me. But then I think cheesiness and poor effects just don't make it translate all that well here. And speaking of the effects, I'm going to throw a lot of them in my mix here, because yes, given its budget and given its time, I mean, I wasn't going in expecting anything different, but just specifically with the Invisible Woman and Reed Richards stretch effects, their powers look so incredibly dated looking. Like, I expected that, but God, they do not hold up well, and I imagine they did not look good for its time either. Jumping off my first mix point, like, they try to kind of explain their powers or how they got them, and it's just summed up with the line from Reed Richards when he says it fundamentally changed our DNA. So, like, cool, maybe it's nice that they don't try to like complicate it and go into it, just it does still kind of come off as lazy here. And in my mix here, I would say, like, overall, I think I enjoyed this movie maybe a little bit more than I thought I would, but I think this movie definitely lacks some adventure and just overarching plot thread here. Like, the Fantastic Four get their powers, spend time using their powers, figure them out, split up for a little bit, and then rejoin for our third act battle. Like, they do try to interject some drama here and there with all the characters reacting and feeling differently about their unique powers. Just, it doesn't feel very high stakes or very investful at the end of the day. And honestly, I can't tell, again, if I love or hate how the Thing looks in this movie. Again, you know, it probably looks way better than if they try to fully CGI it like they're doing in the new one. But just the practical, like, suit just looks like a Spirit Halloween costume. It kind of looks like that 90s Ninja Turtle kind of costumes, but he sticks out so much, almost if the Ninja Turtles, like, if only one of them looked like a turtle in that same kind of rubber costume, Halloween costume suit, if that makes sense. Like, I appreciate it because it's kind of funny, but he does look pretty bad. It looks like a cosplay costume. And let's jump into my negatives here, or the things that I just did not enjoy about this movie. Starting off again with the CGI and green screen here. Like I said, I expected it to not be that well, but with some of the space stuff, especially in the beginning, and some of the effects towards the end as well, and with all like the technology, computer stuff they have in the beginning, it really just dates this movie. It shows its budget restraints and does not hold up well. And like, I wasn't going to put it in my negatives, but like, even all the space stuff from like A New Hope looks way better than this movie does, and it came out decades later. So just a little frustrating because the movie does just come off as very cheap. And I'm not sure if maybe I just missed something, but I really just don't understand why Doctor Doom wouldn't just help the Fantastic Four in finding a cure or helping them out in some way. Like, I get he doesn't have any money because of that dumb plot line with the investors, but he is kind of like a doctor or scientist as well. So if he wanted a cure so bad at first, I'm not sure why he didn't just like try to help them. Like, it's a little convoluted a little bit. Like, I get he's supposed to be like crazy and use his powers for evil. Just I didn't see him snapping the way that he did just from losing a couple investors. So, I mean, we'll get into it here. Like I said, like, Doctor Doom is an okay villain. I'm excited to see what they do with Doomsday here. But in this movie, I just don't really buy the tension between him and Reed Richards and why him losing an investor would make him snap on a dime here. Like I said, I get he's an ass and an evil person, but I wish they kind of like built up this conflict more, or built up the conflict between him and Reed Richards, because if they did that, yeah, the motivation's not the best, but at least there's some personal conflict there I could kind of get behind. But there's nothing I really give a shit about with Doctor Doom, and that's unfortunate here. And again, it might be budget restraints, and just when this movie came out, like, I hope Doctor Doom doesn't look like this in Doomsday. I don't think he will, but he just kind of, the whole movie just walks around like zapping people to kind of get back at Reed Richards for some reason. And I think at one point he says, I've wanted power and now I have unlimited supply, and that's kind of his motivation. He just wants power, and he just spends a lot of time monologuing and like shooting lightning bolts like he's Spider-Man or something. And he just kind of, again, similar to the Thing, Doctor Doom kind of comes off as this cheesy Spirit Halloween cosplayer, and towards the end I hate the voice that they give him, and he just like, he finds his iconic mask in some like glass case somewhere, and just he has like a whole outfit change when he's captured Reed Richards, and then the next scene he's like torturing Reed Richards but in a whole new wardrobe. I'm like, dude, did you just change when you were like kidnapping and torturing somebody? Like, you really had time for that? So a little cheesy. And again, with Doctor Doom and just showing the restraints of this movie, like the third act battle starts off with, I think, Doctor Doom saying like, Susan, let's not fight, and then an Invisible Woman's like, no, let's, and then they like start fighting, and then there's like some cheesy lines, like I think Doctor Doom at one point says, Susan, you're fired, and starts blasting lightning bolts at her. So it's just like, it's so just kind of cheesy and doesn't hold up that well, unfortunately. And I hate how all these characters get their names. Like, again, I'm not sure if this is from the comics. I'm not a big comic reader. Like, a random news channel comes on and labels them the Fantastic Four, so they go with it. Then Johnny Storm goes on the news for an interview and just, like, starts name dropping, like, characters. And then, like, at one point, the reporter, like, shows the Thing and says, like, oh my God, what is that thing? And then Johnny Storm's like, that's his name. He's the Thing. And I'm like, oh, like, that's how they got all their names. Like, again, I'm not sure if that's from the comics, but either way, it's lame. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but that Wilhelm scream, I hate when movies use it more than once. I always think it's funny and cool when a movie uses it maybe once, but if you do it more than once, I don't like it, and this movie does it a couple times. And again here, I know it's from 2005, didn't have the budget like modern movies, but the ending climax is so fucking lame. It takes place in like a little street corner. Doctor Doom's doing his lightning Spider-Man shit. The Fantastic Four beat him by like spraying a fire hydrant at him and making him like kind of freeze, because I think they said that, like, when metal freezes very quick or like something like that. And I'm like, oh, that's how you, with a fire hydrant, that's how we're gonna defeat Doctor Doom right now. So, and they treat it like this big climactic shit, and I'm just like, oh God, like, that was so lame. But I'd say overall, I enjoyed the first half, like when they're kind of discovering their powers, much more than the back half. Like, once they kind of discover their powers, the movie slowly shows you it has no plot, and then it doesn't make up for it in the third act, so it very much peters out. But overall, I would say this is not like the dumpster fire I expected when I sat down to watch it. Like, maybe it was my low expectations and all the negative things that I heard about it. Maybe it made me appreciate it more. Yes, it shows its limitations in effects, stories, and character moments. However, I did find myself appreciating just the kind of simple story and enjoyed seeing these characters interact with each other, and enjoyed seeing these characters I really don't have a lot of experience with too. So it's not bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but for my rating for this movie I think this is a great cable TV movie where I would never look to own it. I would never look to go out of my way to rewatch it. But if for some reason I was watching cable TV or my grandparents were watching cable TV and this was on, I'd be like, oh shit, like, have you ever seen this? Like, it's pretty silly, it's pretty cheesy. Like, leave it on. Let me like fold some laundry. Let me reminisce about the simpler days in ZakIsCinema's life. Like, I don't know, let me Swiffer the floor while this is kind of on and laugh at how the thing looks. Like, that's the type of movie it is to me here, if that makes sense. But you guys have my thoughts on the Fantastic Four from 2005. Let me know what you think about this movie. Did you see it in theaters? Did you see it much later like I just did? Has your opinion kind of changed over time once you notice like all its limitations compared to modern movies? I'm very curious to know what you guys think about this one here. Let me know if you're looking forward to the new Fantastic Four coming out very soon here. I am going to be going through its sequel, The Silver Surfer, and then that other one from like 2015 with Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan in it. So look forward to those couple of videos coming out very shortly here. But I appreciate anybody watching my videos, so thank you so much. And yeah, look forward to more ZakIsCinema coming very soon.